Hey everybody, Josh from Populi here, and if you don't know what you're working towards, how are you going to get there? Or maybe you know your destination, but you haven't gotten into any details about the journey. No landmarks, no highways, no turnpikes. If you're running your admissions process in Populi, it's important to understand the funnel report, because that report gives you those markers that help you move from A to A+. You thought I was gonna say B. Everyone's always coming up to me like,
Please explain the funnel report and admissions.
well, I guess I basically have to now. Gather round. But in return, you have to click that subscribe button and the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. It's for your own good. Roles. You'll need either the admissions admin or the admissions role to access the funnel report. We mentioned some settings at the end that only the admissions admin role can access. To get to the funnel report in Populi, you'll go to admissions and then into leads. You'll see the summary, but we're going to click on funnel report, and there we are. The funnel report lays out your leads by status and gives you useful analytical data so you can identify strengths and weaknesses and figure out how to improve. Getting familiar with this report will give you the clearest idea of what you're working towards in Populi as you think about admissions. As with other aspects of Populi, this is cutting with the grain of the software, so it's a little bit idealized. It may not work for absolutely every school, but it's good to know what's here so you can make that determination. First, this report makes the most sense when we're looking at a particular time frame. It defaults to the 4 trailing months. So if you go to the report in July, it's going to give you a range starting in April and ending in July. The most obvious application of the time range would be to compare one time range against another. So you can see how the run-up to fall 2021 enrollment compares to the run-up to fall 2022 enrollment. We've chosen this range we're looking at here in order to get data to look at. Obviously, we're not a school, so we have kind of bunk data, as you'll be able to tell. Here are the statuses that describe the various thresholds. We'll get into these at greater depth later, but the idea is that you progress along this line from status to status all the way to the end. The total column over here shows us how many leads were in each stage at any point during this time period. Just using the prospect status there, you can see that we had a total of 73 prospects in that status. The entered column shows us how many leads came into the funnel at this point. That was 73. Obviously, there are no earlier statuses, so all of the leads that have a status of prospect had to come in at that point. The continued column shows how many leads moved forward out of this status. For the prospect status, 12 leads that were present in this status in this time range moved into another status during this time period. The lost column shows how many leads did not move forward out of this status. That's 61. Let's look over at application started there. You can see that we have a total of 21 leads in that status, and then 1 continued. And that means that 20 did not continue. Wow. So the lost column shows those 20 leads that did not continue out of the application started status. So in Populi, this is what you're managing your leads towards. You're trying to move as many leads as possible through this status, losing as few as you can. That's the goal of the process. Now, let's go back through each status. Let's look at the prospect status, and I'll describe the difference between a lead and prospect in Populi. A lead is anyone in the admissions process in Populi. A profile that's being moved through the admissions process has to have a lead. So a lead isn't exactly a status. Someone in Populi is a lead the entire time they're in the admissions process. A prospect is a status. So someone might start out as a prospect, but then they'll hopefully move into one of the other statuses. The prospect status is the earliest status that someone could have. It's not an automatic status, so there's no way for a lead to do something that would grant them this status. If you add a lead manually, you could set the status for them, or if you loaded leads en masse, you could set the status that way. After that, we've got the next status, inquiry. This is set up to work as an automatic status. You're able to create an inquiry in Populi and embed it on your institution's website. Students fill out the form and submit it, and those inquiries show up in Populi. Once the inquiries are attached to profiles, they get the status inquiry. That happens automatically. So if you have a profile with a lead and the status is set to prospect, and then you attach an inquiry to that lead, their status will update to inquiry automatically. The next status is application started. Like the inquiry, you can have an application set up and embedded on your site. When students start an application, it'll end up in Populi. Once that application gets attached to a profile, the lead status will be changed to application started. The next status we have is application completed. Students work through their application, and once they submit it, their lead status gets automatically updated to application completed. After that, we have the accepted status. This is also an automatic status. As you're working through applications, they have their own set of statuses. Once you set the application status to accepted on the application, you'll automatically update the lead status to accepted. Next, we have the confirm status. That's a fully manual status. Because of that, you might use it or you might not. Some of our schools have a process by which they confirm whether or not an accepted student is planning on attending, and they use this status to reflect that. Last, we've got the enrolled status, which can be either manual or automatic. And that lives under admissions and then settings, and then other settings right here. And then you've got these options. You can automatically mark leads enrolled when they enroll in their target term or when they enroll in any term, or you can set it to do not automatically mark leads enrolled. Then you're going to end up marking them all manually. Again, the idea here is that as you look at the data for each status, you'll be able to see how many leads enter in each of them, how many continue, and how many are lost. So if you're losing a lot of leads on the application started status, it may point out an issue in your application process that needs to be addressed. Maybe you need more prompts that you're sending out to get your applicants to complete that application. Now here's a prompt for you. Hit that like button, and if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn on notifications. Check us out on social media. That's all linked below. I've been Josh for Populi. You've been great. Thanks for watching.